Marines and Aussies team up for groundbreaking SM-6 missile test. Imagine a world where the lines between nations blur on the battlefield, and a cargo ship is sunk at sea with a single, precise missile strike. That's exactly what happened in a recent military exercise that showcased unprecedented collaboration between the US Marines, the Australian Army, and the US Army. But here's where it gets controversial. Last week, in a remarkable display of joint military prowess, US Marines and Australian Army units joined forces with the US Army for an exercise that pushed the boundaries of modern warfare. As part of the Talisman Sabre exercise in Australia, these Allied forces sank a cargo ship using a Standard Missile 6 SM-6 fired from a portable launcher. This was no ordinary drill. It was a multi-service effort to simulate a complex, contested environment. The exercise was a masterclass in teamwork, with Marine Rotational Force Darwin 25.3, MRFD 25.3, convoying on the ground in the Northern Territory of Australia, while MV-22B Ospreys from Marine Medium Tilt Rotor Squadron, VMM 363 provided aerial support. The live-fire exercise, which took place on July 16, saw the Army bullseye a maritime target with the SM-6 fired from a portable launcher. This wasn't just about sinking a ship, it was about validating mobile command and control, integrating joint and multinational fire assets, and demonstrating the ability to apply decisive combat power at a time and place of their choosing. Colonel Jason C. Armours, commanding officer of MRFD 25.3, emphasized the significance of this exercise. We validated mobile command and control at scale, integrating joint and multinational fire assets to apply decisive combat power at a time and place of our choosing. That's how MRFD operates as a stand-in force, lethal, agile, and always in position to act with allies and partner forces. The preparation for this operation was meticulous. The Marines and Australian forces secured firing areas and deconflicted airspace, preparing for the Typhon launch. This was the first time the Army's 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force, MDTF, tested the containerized missile launcher derived from Navy 41 Malawian Quachars launchers used on warships outside the US. Before the firing, US Marines from MRFD's Marine Air Control Group, MACG 38 cleared the airspace surrounding the multi-domain live-fire corridors. The target was identified during this phase, a cargo ship outfitted with an active emitter to simulate a hostile maritime radar signature. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets, including U.S. Navy P-8A Poseidon aircraft and Allied Special Operations Forces, fed real-time data to the U.S. Army and Mobile MRFD MAGTF Combat Operations Center (COC). As the exercise unfolded, a combined U.S. Marine Corps and Australian Defence Force (ADF) team secured positions near the joint and combined fire assets in the Northern Territory. The two nations demonstrated their interoperability by completing an air delivery ground refueling operation, during which Ospreys reverse-pumped aviation fuel to the Australian Army reconnaissance helicopters, ARH Tigers. This was a significant milestone, showcasing the interchangeability of fueling capabilities between aircraft. Meanwhile, U.S. Marines with the Logistics Combat Element, LCE, maneuvered south, pushing fuel and logistics packages to enable follow-on force projection of MRFD's Ground Combat Element, GCE, and sustainment of the Australian Army's 5th-7th Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, 5/7th IAR. The Marines Combat Operations Centre, built around ruggedized civilian trucks and a camper van, successfully transported the MRFD MAGTF commander and employed a small contingent of cyber, intelligence, fires and communications Marines to ensure timely decision-making while avoiding detection. We executed this operation across U.S. Army's dramatic parachute drop in Australia, Talisman Sabre 2025. A stunning and high-stakes moment unfolded over Australia's skies as US Army paratroopers made a breathtaking nocturnal descent during Exercise Talisman Sabre 2025. This wasn't just any military jump, it was the climax of a grueling 14.5-hour non-stop flight from Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Alaska, culminating in soldiers calmly slipping from the darkness into the rugged Australian terrain near Townsville on July 14. "We hit the exact target spot," said Colonel Brian Waitman, who commands the 2nd Infantry Brigade Combat Team, Airborne, of the U.S. Army's 11th Airborne Division, in a conversation with Defense News. Remarkably, he was the very first to land on the drop zone, leading the way. But here's where it gets controversial. Parachute drops like this routinely expect up to a 10% casualty rate, according to Waitman. While that might sound alarming to many, he emphasized the military's readiness for that reality, with the critical threshold being that 90% of the force remains operational after landing. In this instance, the drop was notable for its safety, with only 3 minor injuries reported. One injury stemmed from a mid-air entanglement during the pitch-black jump, a clear reminder of the inherent dangers. Yet, the jump was just the opening act. These paratroopers, specifically from the 3rd Battalion, 509th Parachute Regiment, nicknamed 3 Geronimo, then embarked on a grueling 30-plus-mile march to capture an urban target near Townsville, northern Queensland. Waitman captured the intensity perfectly. Pulling off such a rapid, forceful operation is truly impressive, and frankly, should send a chill down the spine of any adversary. The journey involved 6 massive C-17A Globemaster III aircraft, 4 from the U.S. Air Force and 2 from Australia, ferrying 323 American troops, a dozen Germans, and later, French soldiers joining the formation once on the ground. These planes also carried vital heavy hardware like HMMWVs, essential for maintaining momentum after the drop. Technology was a game-changer for this mission. Waitman proudly described the continuous, high-bandwidth communications they maintained, including voice, data, and even video links directly from the aircraft. This level of connectivity isn't just a luxury, it significantly boosts situational awareness by creating a detailed, real-time picture of enemy movements, making the entire operation far more precise and informed. Being able to deploy a fully connected infantry battalion, complete with its command element, to a targeted drop zone thousands of miles away means we can project power anywhere across the globe, Waitman explained. And when asked about the added difficulty of jumping at night, the colonel was unwavering. "For us, night ops aren't a handicap. The truth is, we dominate the darkness, giving us a powerful edge where others might struggle." This so-called asymmetric advantage serves as a force multiplier in hostile environments. Talisman Sabre is designed to demonstrate interoperability among allied forces, a challenge Waitman readily acknowledges. "It's one thing to talk about cooperation, and quite another to effectively execute it under pressure," he said. Nighttime jumps showcase the pinnacle of skill and coordination, further proving these forces' elite status. Following a brief pause to regroup in Townsville, over 400 American paratroopers joined 100 German and 36 French soldiers for another immersive night jump on July 21 at Shoalwater Bay, situated in central Queensland. Waitman stressed how classic and foundational such airfield seizures and subsequent lodgements are for airborne infantry. Beyond just the tactical feats, the 11th Airborne Division holds a unique position within the U.S. Army. It commands 2 of its 5 airborne brigades. The 1st Brigade operates as a mobile combat unit equipped with infantry squad vehicles, while the 2nd Brigade, led by Waitman, specializes in airborne assaults. When asked what distinct edge his division brings, he pointed to 2 capabilities: rapid deployment anywhere in the Indo-Pacific region and a specialized mission in the Arctic. We are the only brigades globally capable of conducting offensive operations in Arctic conditions, he revealed, highlighting the extraordinary versatility of these troops, who can transition seamlessly from the cold extremes of the Arctic to the subtropical climate of Australia. The relevance of airborne units on today's battlefield sometimes comes into question, especially after Russia's failed airmobile operation at Hostomel Airport in Ukraine early in its 2022 invasion. Waitman firmly disagrees. Absolutely, airborne forces remain vital. From an adversary's standpoint, our capabilities would be genuinely frightening. With geopolitical tensions heating up across the Indo-Pacific, think China, Taiwan, and the Korean Peninsula, the 11th Airborne Division is prepared for a broad spectrum of missions, whether offensive strikes, defensive postures, stabilization efforts, or rapid expeditionary actions. When pressed about focusing on China as a threat, Waitman was clear-eyed and diplomatic. Our training isn't targeted at any one adversary. Our goal is to integrate smoothly with our Indo-Pacific allies and partners. He added, by honing the ability to quickly concentrate forces from anywhere to anywhere at scale, we position ourselves to outmatch any potential foe and keep the Indo-Pacific region stable and accessible. This year marked the 11th iteration of Exercise Talisman Sabre, a colossal military exercise involving more than 40,000 personnel from 19 countries. The scale and complexity highlight the growing importance of coalition readiness and trust. Gordon Arthur, the author, is a seasoned Asia correspondent for Defense News with 2 decades of experience reporting from Hong Kong. Now based in New Zealand, he has witnessed military drills and defense expos across roughly 20 countries throughout the Asia-Pacific region, lending him rare insight into regional security dynamics. So, what do you think? Are airborne forces, with their daring and complicated operations, truly still indispensable in modern warfare? Or is their role becoming more symbolic than strategic? Share your thoughts below, because when it comes to the future of military power projection, this conversation is just getting started.